Hi again. I used to want to believe in UFOs and other paranormal things, but UFOs were particularly of interest to me growing up because I grew up in the 70s, right? I'm a Gen Xer, and I was a kid during Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and in the 70s we had peak benevolent alien ideas. And, in the 50s and early 60s, it was, invaders, the projection of communism, essentially. But I used to dream about, I didn't have a very good childhood, so I would dream. I was in the front room on the second story of my house, and I would dream of a UFO docking to the little roof that was out there, beckoning me in, and I'd go and I'd leave this place and I'd see fantastic things, and it would prove that I was worthy. It was a parental rescue fantasy. I was praying and hoping, not praying, but hoping that if a UFO showed up, it would take me because I want to get out of here and I need to be rescued. So that's classic parental rescue fantasy with a sci-fi twist. But then later, I saw through that, of course, but later I thought about how cool it would be to see a UFO. And I could see there's two things about seeing something that you have enough knowledge that it has to have been a synthetic feature of the universe, and that it couldn't have possibly been any technology that, at least anything currently we have, like being able to through the sky, that would take artificial gravity for one thing, and the artificial gravity that would counter the inertia. And these are things that are far beyond anything at least that I know of, that's in existence, and it's probably not in existence. Because if we could have such a thing, I think artificial gravity, that would pretty much seal the fusion thing. But anyway, for one thing, I wanted to see the UFOs, experience the UFOs, for one thing, that I have this knowledge. Me. Those other people, they don't know this. They're not privy to this. They're not privy to this inside, this Gnostic knowledge, that I have this direct knowledge that this thing exists, and they don't. So it would give me a leg up, or at least I would feel like I have a leg up. By the way, in all of the first three Terminator movies, that was what was so novel about those, because we get to see all the people who don't know that this is a machine that's coming after them and has no empathy, will not stop, and it's so satisfying to watch it. And that's what I kind of wanted to. That's what I kind of got out of imagining that I saw this, and they didn't. But then another thing is imagining that there's this craft up there, and there's this control console, and it's actually there, and it's actually real. That was attractive. But by and large, I don't see a whole lot of evidence that it's legitimate, that anything can be that would fit that criteria of being a synthetic object in the universe and that nothing on Earth can explain that, at least technologically now. Those recent, like the Tic Tac stuff, those sightings, they're not compelling because photographic artifacts could explain some of those, and then the Tic Tac is just some one person's word, and somebody else's word of seeing something. It may be impressive to Jimmy Carter that he saw a UFO, but it doesn't impress me that he saw a UFO. I have to actually see it. And there's this other thing. This thing that happened to me when this was in the 90s, early 90s. And it was at this trade school, and this guy, one time, it was during lunch, and all of a sudden, he almost never talked to me, but all of a sudden, just out of the blue, he said, "This weekend I was over in Joshua Tree, and I was laying back looking at the stars, and I saw all these different UFOs docking to this mothership, and then the mothership took off." And I thought, well, that's a cool story, bro. That's what I was thinking. But the likeliest scenario is that someone else said that exact thing to him. And it sounded cool. Cool story, bro. It sounded cool. Cool. But he couldn't tell me, hey, this last weekend at a bar, somebody told me he saw these UFOs and it docked with the mothership, and then the mothership took off, and it was pretty awesome, right? That's pretty cool, right? Because he would have intuitively known that hearsay would have been uncompelling and not very cool. So he personalized it. He subsumed the story, and the same thing that happened to the person who told it to him. They subsumed the story. They intuitively knew it wouldn't have been credible for them to tell that, oh, somebody told me that. Yeah, who cares what somebody told me? I want to hear from the horse's mouth, right? So, and that's basically what's going on with all urban legends. Basically, urban legends are, oh, my cousin stuck a chihuahua in a microwave, or whatever urban legend that they're talking about, and they want to share it, but they intuitively know that hearsay is not credible, so they take on the story themselves. So anyway, to go back to UFOs, part of it, the whole thing is just an escape. The escape from this reality. And in many ways, it's an escape of what Terence McKenna would call the banal plane, where everything's just concrete and everything's known and nothing special, and believing in UFOs would give me some mystery. Seeing a UFO certainly would give me the sense of mystery. It would be pretty awesome. But I'm here to tell you, reality, just even the scientifically verified reality, is far more mysterious if you can look at it in a certain way. And that's another story. All right, talk to you later.